Awesome Championship Wrestling returns to the MJN Convention Center in Poughkeepsie on May 17th with Aftershock, presented by Aspire Brewing and Mid-Hudson Pump. In action, you'll see the ACW World Champion Richard Holliday defend his title against Indie God Matt Cardona. The crowning of the ACW Tag Team Championship will take place inside a steel cage as Poughkeepsie's own The Now take on Sent to Slaughter. You'll experience history as the first ACW Women's Champion will be crowned in an elimination match featuring Kelly Madden, Vicky Venuto, Tiara James, Tina San Antonio, and former WWE superstar Indi Hartwell. On the card, you'll also see Real One, formerly known as Enzo Amore, TNA wrestling stars Moose and Mike Santana, ECW legends Tommy Dreamer, Danny Doring, Little Guido, and Joel Gerdner, wrestling legend Crowbar, straight from Jersey Shore Family Vacation, Zach Clayton, and many others. Tickets can be purchased through Ticketmaster, or you can save on fees by visiting the MJN box office in person or buying over the phone. VIP meet and greet packages and more can be found at thisisacw.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a very special episode here on BCP Plus. Guys, want to see how you're doing after work today, checking in with a little bit of Monday Night Raw fallout and NXT. I got a lot of quick thoughts, so guys, join me in the chat. Let me know what you guys thought about Monday Night Raw and NXT. And we're going to start right from the top, a thread that kind of went throughout Monday Night Raw, and that was the introduction of Sami Zayn to the group of Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, and Paul Heyman, yet to be named group. Let me know what you guys thought about this. I said this in an earlier podcast, but very cautiously optimistic about these new chapter changes after WrestleMania. A lot of these heel turns. I had put out a list earlier on Facebook earlier today of some of the recent heel turns, probably in the past, I would say 6 months or so. I'll just read that off real quick if you guys don't mind. I'll pull that up right now. Obviously, the big one being John Cena, the New Day we had seen as of late. Who else do we got here? Trick Williams. Yesterday we saw on NXT. Obviously, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, who you could consider kind of a tweener for the time, full-fledged heel. Heyman gets an asterisk because he's Heyman, so I'll leave it at that. Stacks turning on the family a bit. That hasn't played out all the way. Julia, recent heel turn. Naomi, obviously. Xavier Woods, Kofi, I said already. So just a few off the top of my head, if you guys have noticed any recent heel turns and you guys want to weigh in about that, that'd be great. In the chat, guys, share the stream, chime in. You know, I want you guys to be a part of this too. And let's talk about it. Sami Zayn essentially given an ultimatum by Seth Rollins at the beginning of the show. Hey, we have history. Hey, we're friends, but you're either with me or you're a target. It wasn't you're either with me or you're against me. It was you are with me or you are a target. And throughout the show, there was a thread of Sami talking to people. I believe he talked to Jay. Paul Heyman with a very interesting sit down back in the locker room. I thought that was interesting, going, hey, we're OG bloodline. I did like that connection right there, and saying, hey, you know what? And I like this kind of stuff where Paul essentially said, hey, you know, I had my reasons for leaving Roman. So I like that. It's like, okay, like I want to hear everyone's story. Like Paul Heyman's not the kind of guy you're going to give the benefit of the doubt to, but I still want to see where he's coming from. So let you guys, let me know what you guys think about that. It is Patrick Nelson in the chat. Welcome in, Patrick. How are you this evening, afternoon? Saying Braun Breaker, current heel. Yeah, fully fledged, as we've seen. Yet, getting cheers at the end of the show. A little yeet from Jeffrey T. Fountain. What's up, Jeffrey Fountain on YouTube? A little yeet action from the leader of USDN. Thanks for checking in. So this thread goes throughout the show, and I'm thinking to myself, because what's dangled in front of him, Heyman essentially says, hey, you'll get a title shot if you go to SmackDown. We'll leave you alone, and you'll get a title shot against the winner of Orton and Cena. And I'm sitting here going, oh, man, like, I don't see that happening. I don't see, or, you know, I think Cena's going to win that match personally. It isn't Orton's hometown. We'll do our prediction show. Right now, I think it's Cena. That could change by the time we do our predictions panel. But I don't see Sami challenging, in this case, Cena next. And I've said it for a while. I do think Sami is a future world heavyweight champion. I would love to see him challenge. Elliot's popping me right now in the chat. What's up? Elliot's giving me kisses in the chat. What's up, Elliot? It's good to see you, man. Let me know what you thought about Monday Night Raw. We're actually going to talk about NXT as well. But it was very interesting to hear Heyman dangling the possibility of Sammy going to Raw and being able to, I don't know how, but being able to challenge the winner of Orton and Cena. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't see that happening. So the alternative would be Sammy joining Seth and crew, which to me, I've been very critical. I don't want to see everybody go heel. Like, I just read off that list: John Cena, New Day, Trick Williams, Stax, Julia, Becky Lynch, which we'll get into in a little bit, of all these heel turns. So I'm just mindful of it. I'm not criticizing it. You know, I personally think the John Cena one's been brilliant. I've really been enjoying it because a lot of the stuff he says kind of checks out. But let's go to the chat real quick. But I just wanted to say, I think Sammy was either the choices were go to SmackDown, get the title shot, we'll leave you alone, sounds great, where he kind of backs down, or he joined Seth. Like, that's how I thought it was. Ultimately, we see what Sammy does, which I like. Sammy cuts these promos that seem very conversational and real, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to get you in the cage Friday night, which I always call wrestling acting. So I appreciate that from Sammy, who has the best boo-boo face in the business. I'm just going to put it that way. So you really empathize with Sammy. I'm so glad he didn't turn, and I'm glad he stood up for himself. He got beat up a lot, but I'm glad to see him stand up for himself. So that was great. Let's go to the chat real quick. Elliot, what's up, man? How are you? So Raw was good, but they have a baby face heel alignment problem. Yeah, I kind of actually like the way you said that. And I've been a fan of the product the past year or so, or even more this new regime, maybe the past 2 years. I've really enjoyed a lot of the Easter eggs and the connections. I just feel it's starting to get a little bit cute, and I'm just mindful of that. But I kind of like the way the alignment. I like the way you said that, Elliot. Good stuff. We have some YouTubers checking in, guys. Thanks so much. I hope you subscribe to the channel. Patrick Nelson in the chat. I don't think Sammy's going to SD yet, SmackDown. He's got unfinished business at Raw. Yeah, it seems that way, Patrick. And please, if you haven't already, please give us a sub over on our YouTube channel. We'd appreciate that. I'm seeing a lot of Rhea Ripley in the chat from YouTube. Rhea had a great match, obviously, at WrestleMania. Patrick Nelson saying, I highly doubt Sami Zayn will turn heel. Yeah, for some reason, I'm just like, they're turning everybody. I hope they don't. And I'm glad that he didn't turn heel yet. Anyway, Elliot in the chat. Seems to be a long burn for Sammy to turn on Jay in 6 months, but a babyface title win would play better. Yeah. I'm not that person. I've said this many times on the show. I'm not that person that it always has to be babyface heel, right? It doesn't always have to be good versus evil. That and that is the foundation of everything, and it should be that way 9 times out of 10. I'm not saying it shouldn't be that way, but I have no problem with being, hey, Jay, like, hey, Sammy, you rode with me. We went through everything together. You get this first title shot. Like, there's nothing. It doesn't have to be a tournament where faces face each other. Not to be redundant, but I like it where you can have two faces face each other just for the prize being the championship, to move on and around to be number one contender. Bless you. So I think there's no problem with that. I don't think Sammy has to go heel, or Jay has to go heel, or vice versa, or anything like that. Could Sammy go heel? Yeah, I just don't think I will see it, but again, I'll reiterate, I do see Sammy being a future, and I said this when Gunther had the title, a future world heavyweight champion. Very, very well deserved. From across the pond, Beth Beavis in the chat. Hey, welcome, Beth. What did you think of Monday Night Raw? I think WWE's coming down your way in the next couple of months, if I'm not mistaken. Elliot in the chat saying the crowd shouldn't be chanting one more time at Braun doing another spear, or Becky doing another attack on Lyra, or whatting Lyra Anderson. I honestly, Elliot, that stuff never bothered me. Like, I get the whole, you should be heel or you should be face. At the end of the day, like, the crowd really does decide. And honestly, if you paid a ticket, if I want to cheer for Becky Lynch and she's a bad guy, I can cheer for Becky Lynch. I've never had a problem with that. If you want to see Braun do another spear because they're pretty intense, I have no problem with anyone saying one more time that. And I get where you're coming from, that old school, like, oh, he's a bad guy, so we have to boo him. And I get where a lot of people come from. I think the product's evolved, and that's just that's my personal flavor. You paid a ticket, as long as you're respectful, you can say what you want, but don't cross any lines. Braun Breaker almost broke Sami Zayn in half. Yeah, I think that's why the people wanted to see more. We're here to see people fight. That's what we're paying tickets for. But interesting takes on Sami, guys. I've always said he's been the low-key MVP of the long-term storytelling era. That bloodline stuff, a lot of that goes to him. I know we always talk about that Saturday Night Live moment where they all kind of broke. That was one of my favorite things. Him breaking Jay and Jimmy all the time. And you see Roman crack smiles here and there when they're getting Usi. And then just the boo-boo face that Sami has, it always gets me. So I think we need to go on a ride with Sami. He wasn't at WrestleMania for whatever reason. I think there was a holiday he took time off for, a religious holiday. And then after WrestleMania, he had come back. Patrick in the chat saying, looking forward to Backlash. I believe that'll be in St. Louis. Yeah, the Backlash card is shaping up pretty interesting. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. Beth Beavis in the chat. Beth, so good to see you. Hello. And yeah, Raw was great. I absolutely loved it. You're correct. WWE is coming. I like hearing that I'm correct. You're correct. WWE is coming over again for Road to Clash shows in August, but it's around the same time as AEW Forbidden Door. So I kind of got to go with AEW, really, as we barely get them over there. Well, that is your prerogative. Hopefully you can go see all of the wrestling. But obviously, save your pennies. I hope you get to go see your favorites. And thank you so much for also supporting the independent talent. So have so much fun, Beth. Let us know what you think about the current WWE product right now in this podcast. And let us know if you had a good time over there with all those shows in the future. So that's so good to hear. Elliot in the chat, any thoughts of Sami, Bayley, and many others being left off a 2-day Mania? Yeah, where do I want to go? Let's go to Bayley. I was going to segue into the McAfee thing, but let's talk about this, Elliot, and that's a great point. The Bayley thing, it struck me kind of odd. I'd said this on previous podcasts. Long story short, I'll basically say this, and forgive me for rambling on, guys. A lot of moving parts here. Bayley and Lyra together as a team, kind of not strange bedfellows, but kind of put together. It was almost like Ricochet and Aleister Black at the time, and they worked so well together. I'm a fan of Lyra Valkyria. I just think she needs that je ne sais quoi, something that the fans can connect to. She's missing that. And I think right now they're trying to garner sympathy with her with the whole Becky thing. We'll get into that in a little bit. But the whole Bayley of it all, they're put together and they run this gauntlet a couple SmackDowns ago. And I thought it was fantastic. They went through all these teams, the Secret Hervis, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, all the tag teams on SmackDown. It was really good. They worked really well together. So when they were going into that Mania match against Raquel and Liv for the tag titles, I thought for sure like they would have had a chance. But again, you have that strange bedfellow pairing. So it's like, are they going to win here? Because I think Liv and Raquel are an easy choice to retain. Sure enough, they lost to the returning Becky Lynch, and then it flipped on Monday Night Raw the next night. So that was a little too many moving parts for me. Why would you have them win at Mania? And I get it, like Becky returned. But the whole Bayley thing, Elliot, back to your original question. So she said on Chris Van Vliet, which was recorded before WrestleMania a couple days, she alluded to like, oh, you're going to see something. And she kind of, I don't want to say backpedaled, but kind of got away from that. And Van Vliet even said it after the episode. He's like, this is what she was alluding to, apparently. We have that Monday morning quarterbacking is that she was pulled for whatever reason. And I think it was just to get, I don't think it's punitive or an injury or anything like that. I think it was just to get Becky in there. So to me, I really like that tag team. But again, Lyra is the IC Women's Champion. We need to shine a light on that. And also those women's tag team championships, because now Liv's, I'm going on a tangent here, but Liv is going away to film a movie. Jade, Naomi, and Bianca, I know they were interchangeable at one point when Jade had gone out. So it was Bianca and Naomi. But either, I'm not saying they're interchangeable, but any pairing of those three when they had those title belts, they really elevated that when they defended on NXT against the Meta Girls. Great matches. And I really like those women's tag team championships being elevated. And I'm nervous they'll be pulled into the background because Nick Aldis, special general manager for Raw, essentially said, hey, Liv, you did the paperwork. Like, you're cool. Go make your movie. We'll be here waiting for you. But Dom, you have to go defend your title. So that to me was a little like, or Dom, you need to be here. So to me, that was a little whatever. I'm getting into it a little confusing. But the Bailey thing, you could sense some frustration in Bailey during the CVV interview. I think this is going to lead to Becky Bailey. Becky comes out on Raw. I'll get to the comments in a minute, guys. Becky comes out on Raw and essentially says, hey, I'm not going to waste your time. It was me. I did it. It's not going to be a who shot Mr. Burns, which I, in so many words, she said that, which I kind of popped for. It was me. I'm the bad guy. I'm this. Lyra kind of gets to jump on her. This to me is all to garner sympathy for Lyra and make us connect to Lyra because she's an incredible in-ring performer. She has been for a while. There is something endearing about her, super baby face, but we need that connection, and maybe we're going to find it. Think about what happened with Becky. When she got the bloody nose from Nia. I'm not saying that's what Lyra needs, but we need something that endears us to her. So I think that's kind of what's going on with Becky. I'm actually not feeling the Becky heel turn just because, you get the frustration. Hey, I jumped Bailey. Hey, I did this. But I need a little bit more of a why. It's kind of just like she can be good. She can be bad. It's interchangeable. But I always like everything in a neat little package, dots to connect. I know I always say that. We've always been a pro Becky show from day one. We have been such a pro Becky podcast. We used to have the Becky cutout in the background. But this heel turn, I don't know. But I think a lot of people think she ends up with Seth's group, yet to be named. So not my favorite promo by Becky, not my favorite logic or reasoning. I always talk about wrestling acting and suspension of disbelief when you're talking about professional wrestling and storytelling. I like it when things connect and make sense. So I was a little shaky on the Becky promo. Let me know what you guys thought. And I'm catching up on the chat, guys. Wow, blowing up. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. I want to read all the comments. So please, you guys are a part of this. I want to hear what you say. This is just my take on everything. So real quick, Daron, dude, so good to see you again. Lyra is wholesome, but she doesn't have that superstar presence to me. I think she will. And that's kind of my point I was getting at. She's great in the ring. She's got a great look. The entrance allows the crowd to participate, but why, like Bill always says on the podcast, why am I cheering this person or why am I going, damn this person? And I think we need to know, why are we cheering Lyra besides she's a really, really good wrestler and a great baby face. But what is your mission statement? You're the first IC women's champion. To me, I thought that should have been Natalya personally, but I digress. Lyra, very deserving of it, but I want to see that title defended. And it looks like it will be defended versus Becky Lynch. Very interesting. Beth, so glad you're tuning in today. Yeah, there's a lot of indie shows going on as well over, UK, I believe. So trying to prioritize everything. You got Dynamite, Collision, and WWE doing house shows as well. That's great because I know WWE wasn't doing a lot of house shows. So that's really cool. Yeah, get the most bang for your buck. The house shows are a lot of fun too because they're not strict on time, and I think the wrestlers go the extra mile, and sometimes the referees get a little silly. So that should be fun. And thank you for the 100%. I'm just going to pretend you agree with everything I said. So thank you, Beth. So glad you tuned in. And you met Lyra Valkyria. We actually met Lyra briefly in Philly walking around. We may have been walking to the Rocky Steps, I think it was. And we saw Lyra, and she was nice enough to take a picture with Nunes, which was cool. CVV interview was very good with Bailey. Yeah, she had some things to say. She wasn't bashing anyone, but you could sense a little frustration. And I'm not stirring the pot, She has some goals. She mentioned trying to do a romantic angle, which is very interesting. She wants to win that IC championship belt, so she has goals, but also a little bit of frustration for sure. Maybe do the Bailey attack on the show. Yeah, I think that was either during the Hall of Fame or like a pre-show or a press conference. The Bailey thing was not on a main show. I think you're right, Ellie. That's actually a great point. Not sure how many payouts work. Yeah, I'd heard they're not how they used to be. I wouldn't be the guy to ask on that, but that's an interesting point. You don't want to miss that Mania payday. CJ, Love Lady Horror fan, welcome back, and so good to see you in these chats over and over again. Keep in mind they need enough feuds to make Survivor Series in November feel like a wrap-up, and Becky and Bailey are your female veterans for faces and heels. Yeah, the 4 horsewomen for sure. Yeah. And that's a combination we don't see too much, Bayley and Becky, that I can remember in recent memory. So that's a fair point. I agree. I see Becky versus Bayley. Yeah, I don't think that's officially announced. It seems to be going that way. She might come to Lyra aid during Backlash. So yeah, and I may have said this wrong. I think it's going to be Lyra, Becky, if that's not already made for Backlash coming up, and I think come SummerSlam, maybe Bayley, Becky. But again, I sense some frustration in Bayley missing out on WrestleMania. So a few wrestlers did free meet and greets when WWE came to the O2 Arena for Raw and SmackDown. Cool. You met Carmelo Hayes, Pretty Deadly, and Lyra. That's so cool. And you met Tama Tonga. That's so cool after the Carmelo meet and greet. That's so cool. I love that. And I love it when you meet your heroes and they're very, very nice. And I'm so thrilled when I get to sit down with 10 minutes or 5 minutes with a superstar and get to interview them. And you know, we like to keep things positive. So I'm always honored when we can sit down and talk to some of these WWE superstars, TNA superstars, AEW superstars, and of course, our friends in the independents. Guys, I want to turn the page. Oh, real quick, Ellie, great job saying that was the pre-show night one. That's when it happened. So close to the actual PLE, man. I do feel bad for Bayley. I'm not going to lie. It's all above my pay grade. I wanted to talk about this. I wasn't high on this. I think a lot of people were. The whole Pat McAfee of it all, and I'll be careful how I say this. I think a lot of this for me comes from the indies. So this, which is not the same as WWE at all. A little bit of the Wild West. It's not my favorite when the announcers, commentators, whoever, get in the ring. That's I don't know, but you guys are the fans. You tell me. Do you guys like it when the commentators and the announcers, and I'm talking in the independent level, they get in the ring? To me, I have a lot of respect for what the wrestlers train and do. And there's not a knock on anyone. This is just my flavor of ice cream, my opinion, if you will. I have a lot of respect for the performers. So if that adds some sort of value from a business perspective, maybe, or as a draw or something, maybe I can see it. But I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see people that are presenting the stars and telling the stars stories try to be the stars themselves. That's just how I've always felt. And then this is from a guy, believe it or not, I don't love being on camera. I know I do the backstage interviews and get beat up by all the wrestlers. But at the end of the day, I try to feel as though that I am essentially the straight man that's giving them something to work with, and they can beat me up and they can tell their story. So I try to be here and let the wrestlers, kind of, mold that clay, if you will. That's just my whole philosophy. Sorry, I got kind of deep there. I do not work for WWE. I have no expertise on the situation at WWE. The whole Pat McAfee thing 2 weeks ago, Gunther attacked Michael Cole. First of all, what did you guys think about that? To me, Gunther's frustrated. I get it. Why Michael Cole? Maybe because some of the things he said on commentary. I don't know. Pat steps up, defends Michael Cole. Okay, I'm cool with that. Based on the situation, again, I don't know if I love him attacking Michael Cole as that being a starting point. You think he'd attack Jay? I don't know. I'm just trying to, again, connect the dots. Suspension of disbelief. I'm rambling on, but see if you guys follow me here. Cole gets attacked, whether you like it or not. Pat jumps to his aid. Okay, that I like because that's your boy. Pat has not been a wrestler, but been in wrestling matches and held his own and done a really good job. He's good at everything. Pat's boys jumped the barrier, and I'm like, are these fans? Like, what's going on? And then I realized it was Pat's boys. So that gave some validity to it, some real feeling to it. I like that Gunther's going crazy and letting loose, and this very put together, respect the mat heel is kind of losing it a little bit, getting frustrated. We saw him lose it first on Jimmy weeks ago before WrestleMania, which added a lot to that feud. So I get what they're doing. It's good to see some of this range from Gunther, who has been one of our favorites for a while, a lot of our panelists' favorites here on BCP Plus. So this is an interesting angle with Gunther. So then the following week, Pat, well, I mentioned this briefly. Cole's kind of doing the whole like, I'm going to go back and do my job. And, the next match happens right after he gets attacked. This was 2 weeks ago. And he's like, oh, I don't want to take away too much from this match, but, and I'm not knocking Michael Cole at all. This is just my personal preference. And again, this just goes back to announcers and talent and that whole line. And Cole, like, I don't want to take away from this match, but like whatever, I'm real shook, and basically saying, hey, like, I'm professional and I got to keep doing my job, and I don't know what got into Gunther. So he acted real shook, and I get it. But they took it to the next level where Pat on Raw this past week, he stands on top of the commentary desk, which is kind of his bit and his thing. And he cuts a really good promo. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, the promo was good. It was passionate. Cole, you're my boy. I'm not just going to like sit here and do nothing. Like, he did get out. It checks out. I'm going to fight Gunther. Nick Aldis comes out, and let me know what you guys think about that. Nick Aldis comes out and says, hey, all right, you got it. You got Gunther. I think at Backlash, I believe that's official. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. At Backlash, to me, this is just my takeaway. Gunther, longest reigning IC champion, one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Great old school kind of matches. He tapped to Jey Uso at WrestleMania, which to me was very, very telling to his own move. I didn't think Gunther would tap. I thought maybe he'd pass out at the ending there, or maybe because I think Jay did like 3 frog splashes. So I'm like, okay, like you can beat him off 3 frog splashes. I'm cool with that, and Jay had that extra level of anger and motivation from Jimmy's being attacked by Gunther. So everything with Gunther here it just feels weird that Pat McAfee is his next opponent, and Pat can go. It's not like he's a guy that can't go. Like, his match with Adam Cole, phenomenal. I think he was in the Rumble too. He does a great job. I think he was doing like moonsaults and landing on his feet against Adam Cole. I hated it then, and I'm not hating on Pat McAfee. Highly entertaining, and I enjoy watching his show. But I hated how good he was facing Adam Cole, because like, you're just an announcer. So taking on Gunther, I don't want him going in, like, no disrespect to Pat McAfee, looking strong, because Gunther's Gunther. So Gunther's fighting one of the commentators. I get it. It's Pat. He's not a wrestler, but he has wrestled, and he's wrestled really, really well. To me, go somewhere else with Gunther. Maybe something with Kaiser. I'm reaching here. Maybe Gunther goes away for a little bit. I don't know. I think this may be a way to ultimately write Pat off for a while, and this is a way to do it. I think it's going to be a solid match because Pat's really good in the ring and a good contrast of styles, but I don't want it to be a good match because Gunther's Gunther. Longest reigning IC champion of all time. Did a great job with that World Heavyweight Championship, a former World Heavyweight Champion. Pat's had a handful of matches. So I think, I don't want to say the punishment doesn't fit the crime. To me, it's not my favorite. But again, I'm always very weary of the announcers being wrestlers, even if they're good at it, like Pat is. So not a knock at all on Pat. A lot of respect for him getting in the ring and training and doing it the right way. But that's just my take. It's not my favorite. I wish they'd gone somewhere else with Gunther a little bit instead of the announcers. But again, credit to Pat who has trained and can go. Had a heck of a match with Adam Cole. So what do I know? Bringing it back to the chat, guys. Let's see what we got. All right, here we go. Let's take it to Elliot. Thank you guys for checking in. Guys, keep it going in the chat, please. I don't mind Pat getting in the ring, Elliot says, but with the regular PLEs usually only having 5 matches, yes, it takes away from spot from people who deserve it, tag title matches, etc. I'll agree with that wholeheartedly, and I'm glad you brought that up, Elliot. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Another reason I don't like the announcers getting involved is because he's not purposely taking someone's spot, but people who are in the back or might have an opportunity or aren't being used or aren't catering or like you said, like a tag title feud. Like we saw a great TLC that wasn't on WrestleMania. And maybe we talked about it on the last podcast. Maybe there was an advantage of it not being on WrestleMania, but still you want to be on WrestleMania. Great TLC match, but I digress. I think that's a great point, Elliot. There's usually only 5 matches, very takeover, which if you think about the size of the roster here, and this is after WrestleMania, a lot of these PLEs are becoming 2 nights, and I see why they do it. The shows flow a lot better with the 5 matches, but again, my favorite word, opportunity. We need opportunity for these superstars, and I'm not saying Pat is taking anyone's opportunity. I just didn't think it was going to be one of the announcers facing Gunther. So I think that's a really fair point. Beth in the chat saying, I have no idea how I feel about it, to be honest. My jaw dropped when Pat McAfee called out Gunther. Yeah, for sure. What else we got here? And then Beth also saying, I hated it, to be honest. I just hate seeing other people that aren't the talent get hurt because they aren't as trained as the wrestlers. Yeah, and I want to give Pat like the credit there. Like he's not like how Michael Cole was when. And again, I'm not trying to knock Michael Cole. I'm so appreciative of him entertaining us and being one of the best commentators I've ever heard. And it's just like comforting hearing him every week, and he does such a great job. But I didn't love it when he was a wrestler, and I think that was the idea. But when he got in the ring, to me on the indies in WWE, like I just don't like it when the announcers get in the ring. But Pat can go. He can actually fight. So what do I know? Let's keep it going in the chat real quick. You guys are responding to each other. Beth, no love for Nick Aldis here. What's going on? Annoying every time he comes out. You don't like Nick Aldis? I think I like Nick Aldis. I think he does a good job as a general manager myself. I think Nick does a solid job. I think he makes some good decisions. Elliot bringing up another great point. Pat is such a social media presence. He usually puts on it. I mean, that's it. You hit it right on the head, Elliot. He usually puts on entertaining matches, so I get it. Seems like a backdrop for something else, like Goldberg. Yeah, I've heard a couple Goldbergs in there. I feel like if I say his name one more time, like it's gonna happen. And no disrespect, but I've heard a lot of Goldbergs surrounding this as well. So that's very interesting. Bubba John in the chat. What's up, Bubba John? I hope you're getting home from work. Hope all is well, man. I was talking to you earlier today. Logan Paul getting another title shot. Against Jay. Yeah, it's looking like that's the way it's playing out for sure. Not my favorite, but I think that's the whole point. Is Jay's gonna, he's like we always say, you're the world heavyweight champion. What's next? And usually it's typically like an Orton. But who is the guy that you're gonna face next to have your first like big title defense? So that's a great point too. And I'll go back to your comment real quick, Beth. I know I like him as a general manager, but I'm waiting for something else to happen. Okay, when Nick Aldis, yeah, like something. I get what you're saying. Like you want a little bit more. Because he's straight down the middle, right? He makes good executive decisions. That's my way of managing. Very generally, I generally manage. It's I put the general in general manager. So. Wow, Mike, I don't know if you tagged him in this because it doesn't show me if it's tagged or not. You want to see Mikey McEnroe versus Lou Bruno? I mean, I kind of do. I'm not gonna lie, and I kid. Shout out Mikey. Yeah, no, for me, I was never a fan of the announcers. And you guys are the fans. Like you let me know. I was just never a fan of the announcers getting in the ring, whether it be the indies or on TV. You're telling their stories. I don't feel. I'm never a fan of the announcers or the journalists. Even I don't want to get too into it, but like sometimes I'm asked to do an entrance, and if I'm doing commentary or whatever, and I was like no, like that curtain is not. I guess I'm just respectful of it. Obviously, I date a wrestler. That's just my feelings on the matter. But let me know what you guys think on everything, real quick. When wrestlers are about to fight each other. And Nick Aldis comes out, yep, whoa, wait. And I'm like, no, let them fight. Okay, I get where you're coming from. From, Beth. And guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been a great chat. I do want to get to NXT in just a minute. But guys, if you haven't, real quick, go over to BCP Plus right on YouTube. Just BCP Plus. Check out our interviews. Joe Henry, The Hardys, Nia Jax, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Kofi Kingston before he turned heel. And what do you guys think about all these heel turns? I do want to shout out the Stephanie Vaquer versus Ivy Nile match. I thought it was a really good match. Really, great match. Great to see how far Ivy's come. She's always been really good, but I'm glad she gets a chance to shine a little bit more on her own. Obviously, go check out our interview with Ivy Nile on the BCP Plus YouTube or BCP-Plus.com. I think I hit all my Raw points. So let's take it over to NXT. Guys, share the stream. Thank you so much for joining me after work. Hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. And let me know if you guys like these little check-ins that we're doing, our little reviews, as we're going to keep the content flowing till SummerSlam, which is coming here in New Jersey. Tickets are on sale now. If anyone does need the pre-sale passwords, I can throw them up in the chat for you guys so you can see the pre-sale passwords. Tickets are on sale now. Not astronomical. They were not astronomical. So, all right, let's go to shows. We'll go to NXT. And well, I believe it was Vic Joseph who said his name, but he appeared. Of course, someone we've interviewed as well, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Hendry, opens the show, comes out. Trick jumped him at TNA Rebellion, and that's how the show opens. And he calls Trick out. Great. I thought it was a great promo by Joe, and you have to give him credit doing all this media. We've interviewed him twice in just as many months, I think. And he's just doing everything. And he's doing all the media, and he's doing all the appearances. He's going to NXT and TNA, and he has multiple feuds with multiple people going on, and it's been really, really good. Bubba John, you want the password for the pre-sale? I think one of them is WWE, off the top of my head, TIX, like WWE TIX, all capital. That was one of them. If that doesn't work, I have like 2 or 3 other ones, but that's just one off the top of my head. I can certainly pull it off. Beth, so good seeing you. Thanks for checking in. Have a great rest of your day. So good talking to you. Ellie, you got the SummerSlam tickets. Did you really? You need a third mortgage. Okay, that means you got good seats. They got good seats, but the 2-day combo was for nosebleeds upper level was, I guess, affordable. I guess that whatever everyone's comfortable with, but not as devastating as I thought they would be. So we'll see. And if you guys need that password, Universe is a code. Thank you, Elliot. We appreciate it. Bubba, if you're still here, Universe, I'm guessing all capitals. There's a bunch of codes. Anyway, Joe Hendry comes out, opens NXT. You said his name. He appeared. I can't say enough good things about Joe. Great match with Kazarian and All Ego Ethan Page. Check out our review by Mr. Wayne Keener on bcp-plus.com. Before this turns into a giant commercial, guys, we'll keep it going. Joe Hendry gets attacked. He calls out Trick, but Trick does not appear. But Dark State appears, and they attack Joe Hendry. Sure enough, we get a backstage segment with Joe Hendry and Hank and Tank, who had a phenomenal match with Fraxium, one of my favorite matches from that weekend at Stand and Deliver over WrestleMania weekend. They beat Fraxium, who seemingly are now on SmackDown. Joe Hendry, Hank and Tank, looks like they're taking on some trio, some combination of Dark State next week. So we will see Joe Hendry again on NXT. I like that, but I do want to see the confrontation with Trick and Joe Hendry one-on-one on the mic. Trick does come out later. Trick comes out later in the show. Let's pull up the results here. And does respond to Joe Hendry and has some strong words. This not to say the kick at Rebellion, the trick shot by Trick, the knee, was the fully fledged heel turn for Trick, seemingly so. But Trick kind of confirms it with this promo right now. And I know I'm being critical of the heel turns. I like this Trick heel turn. I don't think it serves his entrance at all, especially if he gets called to the main roster. The crowd singing along with that Trick and the Booker T of it all, which I really, really have come to enjoy. Really enjoy. So I don't think his entrance serves to that heel turn, but his promo was just saying, hey, I wanted to face Oba one-on-one. Someone always gets involved. I think Eddie Thorpe at one time. I think Ego maybe. There was just always like a third wheel or something going on. And he just said, hey, I want to go attack Joe Hendry. And that's what he did. Let's see if I can pull up some of Trick's promo. But what did you guys think of NXT? And obviously Trick's attack on Joe Hendry. It does not look like we're getting Trick and Joe just yet. All right. Ellie talking about his seats. All right. Oh, wow. Good seats. So 3 tickets, 3 combo tickets. All right. Wow. Yeah, the fees. Yeah, the fees add up. Trevor in the chat. Check out my guy, Trevor. Love Trevor. He's killing it on 1043, Q1043. The morning show with Jim Kerr. One of the longest running shows. So I love turning on the radio in the morning, heading to work, and hearing Trevor adding just so much fun to that show and levity, and Trevor doing some great things, getting his shout outs on air from the likes of Jack Black, and just doing some great things covering the NFL draft as of late. So Trevor, so good seeing you, man. You're living the dream. Very proud of you, man. You're crushing it, brother. Let's talk about Ricky Saints defending his NXT North American Championship successfully against Lexis King, who's had a little bit of a push as of late, even though he lost the Heritage Cup to, I think it was Noam Dar. A lot of wrestling, guys, a lot of moving parts. And we saw the de-evolution of Meta-4 going their separate ways. And I gotta say, it was really refreshing to see like 4 grown adults having a conversation like, hey, we're strong together, but now we need to go our separate ways. I think we can be stronger apart, and having a mature conversation, and all of them go their separate way. I hope the Meta girls stay together because they've been a great tag team, but even if they don't, I'd love to see what they can do on their own. Again, I don't know what's happening with those women's tag titles now that Liv is filming a movie, but I thought that was really, really cool. Sol Ruca, I did not watch her interview with Bully yet on the Busted Open After Dark podcast, so I'm definitely going to go back and watch that. I saw she had gotten emotional about winning the title, so I definitely want to watch that. One of the best finishers right now, the Soul Snatcher, so good. It's like a video game move. It's great. But Sol Ruca defends against Carmen Petrovic, a non-title match. And sorry, just catching up reading this here. We see Zarya, formerly Delta, just a big smile on her face, helping her hold up the title. Look, guys, we talk about heel turns. I've talked a bit about the way Zarya's been presented. I thought she was up there with Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. She's kind of taken a back seat to them a little bit. The way she was presented, just popping up in her debut, so she looked like this powerhouse, this like unstoppable, I don't want to say Undertaker, but like force. And she seems to be putting this tag team with Sol Ruca, which is, again, that levity and fun. And I like it so far. But, I mean, maybe I'm way off on this one. But is this just foreshadowing of I almost said Delta, of Zarya turning on Sol Ruca for that North American Championship? I see that's where it's going. Even the picture they have on WWE.com, she's holding up her hand and just kind of looking at the title a little bit. I could be way off here. Ooh, I like this statement. By Jeffrey T. Fountain, USDN. NXT is starting to feel a lot like the black and gold brand again. Yeah, especially Stand and Deliver. I said it in my review. It felt like a takeover. It felt like a black and gold takeover, especially that Fraxium Hank and Tank match. It really did. The characters have been, it took a while, but the characters have been really endearing. That women's division is second to none. That's just my take on that. That women's division is second to none. That's why I'm so critical of it. I've sang Stephanie Vaquer's for months now, and I'm sorry it wasn't sooner. She's at this time like, relegating titles so other girls could have a chance. She's holding 2 titles at once. She's not gotten pinned anytime recently. I thought she was going to lose the Stand and Deliver, so she get called up. I was wrong on that, but she's on Raw every single week. I think they're testing the waters here. Is Mikey in the chat? What, Mikey? I guess you were tagged, Mikey. Thanks for checking in. What you think of NXT? Why would we fight? All right. Always a heel. Mikey, we'll have to get you one of those shirts. Good to see you in the chat. What you think of NXT, bro? Hope you're doing well, my friend. I think Zarya is definitely going for Sol Ruca. Hank and Tank take on Josh Briggs and Yoshiki in that match. Great match. Hank and Tank continue to impress. Really, really good. And then Io Sky and Jordan Grace versus Roxanne and Julia. Really good main event. Really, really good main event. Nice to see Io standing tall at the end. And then you kind of had that brawl with, I believe it was Julia and Jordan to the back. I believe they kind of turned into a brawl on the outside, if I'm remembering correctly. But NXT was very interesting. I've really enjoyed NXT, and I like what you say, Ellie. It's beginning to feel a bit like the black and gold brand. Oh, also, the stuff with Stacks, I'm actually really liking. Turning on the family, the whole Sopranos vibe of it all. I've really enjoyed that. So I think that one too. I want to see where it goes. What happened to Luca? By the way, when we went in the desert, what happened? Did he get whacked? Like, I don't know what we're supposed to think here. Maybe Stacks is in the right. Maybe there's something we don't know. The Sopranos of it all. That's been very interesting. You saw the security guards that were supposed to be separating them all jump Tony. So that was a nice little like twist there. But then I was wondering, well, what about all the guys that were standing behind Tony? Like maybe they're the other mobsters or whatever. Like, why didn't they help him? I don't know. Just something that crossed my mind. But I thought that was really, really, really fun. I'm liking this Tony D'Angelo family angle. Rizzo's gone into hiding. So I think that's about it, guys. I think we touched on everything. If you guys haven't already, please, again, I'm trying to build up the YouTube. I love seeing you all on Facebook and watching all the time. We're going to have our predictions panels. We got some good interviews coming up, but please go over to our YouTube channel, BCP Plus, type that in. We have recent interviews with Joe Henry, the Hardys, and then we got throwbacks with Johnny Gargano, Ivy Nile, who you just saw had a great match on Monday Night Raw, Nia Jax, Kofi Kingston, Tommy Dreamer, Dave LaGreca, the list goes on and on. Mike Santana, one of our favorites, Casey Navarro, and lots more media coverage to come. We're also going to be talking with some sports athletes from back in the day. I'm working on some things, perhaps some current athletes as well. And I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to keep these. And again, like I always say, I want you guys to be a part of it. I want to know what you guys think. These are certainly just my takes instead of hearing me ramble on for a little while. I want to hear what you guys think of everything, right? This is just my take on everything. So we appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for joining the chat. Go check out our great content, our UFL coverage. We have guys in the press boxes in Arlington, in DC, and Detroit. I got to shout out Kelvin, Tyler, and Mike Mueller doing a great job with our UFL coverage. So much more on the way. Guys, we're looking for new sponsors as well. Just starting at $25 a month. We'll shout you out on the podcast. We're going to run our sponsors right now. We also have daily website sponsors. Again, starting at just $25 for the whole month. Lots of content, lots of names, lots of interviews, and of course, always supporting our indie friends. And guys, thanks for staying. Well, I guess it's not late this time, but thanks for staying with me. And guys, like we always say here on the BCP, everyone stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other. We out. Peace. BCP is brought to you by our favorite store, Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore, located in the Englishtown Flea Market in New Jersey from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays, and online at FunkensteinWrestlingSuperstore.com. Get your favorite wrestling merch, retro video games, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, so much more. It's our favorite store. Thank you, Heather and Dan, for sponsoring the BCP. Also got to welcome back our sponsors, the No Gimmicks Podcast, the podcast that keeps it 100% real 100% of the time. Check out our guy Kelvin, only on the No Gimmicks Podcast. Wrestling All Day, All Night is the best wrestling discussion group on Facebook. We provide more of a community feel here and have wrestling fans introduce other fans to something they may not have seen before, such as old school wrestling, indie wrestling, Japanese wrestling, and so much more. We also strive to be a source of information regarding upcoming wrestler meet and greets and signings. And remember, we're open 24/7, all day, all night. Be sure to follow on socials and join the group on Facebook at Wrestling All Day, All Night. Welcome back our sponsor, Sweet Chin Musings. Sweet Chin Musings is the creation of the reigning, rarely defending, highly disputed champion of wrestling podcast, Mr. Perfect, Mike Mueller, and his tag team partner in crime, Luke Kudialis. SCM focuses on the in-ring product of WWE and AEW, no dirt sheet rumors here, as well as backstage news, predictions, and analysis of characters, storylines, and major pay-per-views. Old school fans, don't worry, we have you covered as well, with a look back on classic matches, top 10 lists, and interactive tournaments that let the fans decide who is truly the best of all time. You can find them at Facebook at Sweet Chin Musings, and check out the podcast on all major podcast platforms. Please welcome back our sponsors on the BCP Plus and the podcast, GPW Productions. GPW provides your promotion or event with top-tier video, audio production, live streaming, and more. I can personally vouch for them in saying they are hands down the best production company I've ever worked with, as they have and continue to work with the likes of AEW, GCW, StarCast, MLW, not to mention the majority of the local independent promotions here in the tri-state area. They can even help you film a vignette or promo for your persona or gimmick. And guess what? GPW doesn't just work in wrestling. No, they cover MMA, boxing, basketball, or any other sporting event as well. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Mike Sesko, Frank León, Oneil Andrews, and the team for giving me multiple opportunities to work with them and some of the best talent in the world. Thank you, GPW, and guys, book GPW for your promotion or event today at contact@gpwproductions.com. Please welcome back one of our favorite sponsors, Mania Club. Established in 2015, Mania Club is a WWE recognized community for fans with an eclectic love for both the world of professional wrestling and raising money for Connor's Cure. During WrestleMania weekend, we host the official tailgate of WrestleMania while also celebrating the life of Conor McCallum. They are the single largest donor within the V Foundation for Connor's Cure with over $150,000 raised. Please donate and join the Facebook group over at Mania Club on Facebook. Donate at jimmyv.org/Mania Club. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for the months of May and June, J. Adam Photography. Jay provides quality, artistic, innovative photography with a quick turnaround time. Be sure to check out his latest ISPW wrestling pics and much more stellar content. Right now, wrestlers can do a special portrait shoot with Jay in Sparta, New Jersey for just $50. Contact Jay at Jay Vogel on Facebook and be sure to follow him across socials. Thank you, Jay, for sponsoring the BCP. Guys, let's welcome in our new pod sponsor, Cooper Groove Grips. When you play Cooper Groove drumsticks, you get increased sensory feedback from your hands, so your grip will naturally loosen, but you have complete control. With that taking place, you don't have fatigue and soreness, which can lead to long-term issues. Guys, as a drummer, Cooper Groove is my drumstick of choice. Sweaty hands aren't a problem. Grip is good. Don't forget to check out their amazing Cooper Groove bats coming out soon. Guys, follow at Cooper Groove Grips on Facebook. Guys, please welcome in our new podcast sponsors, ISPW Weekly, where we dive deep into the world of ISPW, the crossroads of professional wrestling. Join Jumpin' Jay and Total with Tom every week as they interview the stars of the ring, uncover their stories, rivalries, and the electrifying action that defines ISPW. Be sure to check out ISPW Weekly on the ISPW Facebook page every week. Please welcome in our new pod and daily site sponsor, Twisted Shamrock Studios and Spa, located in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Twisted Shamrock is a retro spa experience for the average Joe and Jane. Meet the next evolution of recovery and relaxation. Right now, you can try their introductory offer, where you can try a core service to include massage, skincare, facial, stretch therapy, body slimming, toning, personal training, and spray tanning for 30 minutes for just $30. This is perfect for our wrestling pals as well. Book today. Call 484-574-8868 or visit www.twistedshamrockstudiospa.com. Guys, please welcome back our returning podcast sponsor, USDN. USDN Podcast is run by USDN Chairman and the Council of Nerds. We bring you all the latest news and rumors from the world of nerds and consolidate it right here at the U.S. Department of Nerds. USDN is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Follow them at facebook.com/US Department of Nerds. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for 2025, the Ropes and Riffs podcast, featuring Maestro John Kiernan speaking with the stars of professional wrestling about their in-ring, tunage, gear, and so much more. Check out John's interviews with the likes of Lince Dorado, Mercedes Martinez, and so much more. Find the Ropes and Riffs podcast on all major podcast platforms. Guys, please welcome in our new podcast sponsor, EM Collectibles, featuring live signings, collectibles, toys, and more. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and stay tuned for their upcoming events. Upcoming events right now, March 8th, Hernando Toy and Comic Show, the Hernando County Fairgrounds live signing with Super Crazy. March 22nd, Neg Dog Championship Wrestling presents Music and Mayhem in Hudson, Florida with special guest Super Crazy. March 29th and 30th, 2025 Syracuse Collectors Con in Syracuse, New York with Bill Alfonso, Gary Wolf, and the quintessential stud muffin Joel Gertner, March 30th only. April 5th, New England Fan Fest, and we'll have Buff Bagwell. April 13th, 2025, our premiere show, Bring Back the Memories Toy Show, and May 10th, our renowned 90s Wrestling Con in Morristown, New Jersey, guests to be named soon. BCP is sponsored by Warriors of Wrestling. Saturday, May 10th at Most Precious Blood Church in Brooklyn, New York, featuring former TNA superstar James Storm. Also featuring The Allfather, Darius Carter, Danny Moff, Chris Steeler, TJ Marconi, Warriors champ Roger Mendez, Danny Storm, Mike Titello, and a whole lot more. Get your tickets now at warriorsofwrestling.com. BCW and Shadow Wrestling Alliance present Anniversary 8, a Jurassic celebration honoring the life of Vince Steele. Live Sunday, May 25th, the Mecca in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Doors at 5, bell 6 time. Get your tickets now.